Dorian joined a few minutes. So Luciana and Penny is hosting this section with me. Thank you so much for coming. And Lucy, you want to introduce this section, please?
Yes, thank you so much, everyone who is here, and particularly our three great storytellers. The session is our fifth one, basically the last one of the Power to the Commons teachings, and I will share some slides as well as we go along, so that we see who each person is from the three storytellers who come from the Funding the Commons, Nouns, DAOs, Amigos, and Urbanica. Give me a second to just share my screen with you all, so we just start, sharing. Yep. So welcome again to Power to the Commons, an opportunity to imagine another world. And this is the teaching number 5, which is an opportunity to imagine all the possible worlds with blockchain, governance, and the commons, with our three guests, Teresa from Funding the Commons, Lex from Nouns DAO Amigos, and Dorian from Urbanica. And with three of us as hosts, Alex Correa from Platoedro, a non-profit organization from Medellin, Colombia, a member of the AC School, Commoning Cluster, the Power to the Commons, collective project and arts collaboratory. Luciana Fleischmann from Arts Collaboratory organizing team, AC School, and Power to the Commons. And myself, Penny Travlou from AC School, coordinating team, the Power to the Commons collective, and the University of Edinburgh. Thank you. The floor is yours, Lucy.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you all for coming today. We are very happy to host the almost final session of the series of teachings. I'm just going to mention a short recap about what is AC and what is AC School, like why are we here now? To give a bit of context, Arts Collaboratory is a network of almost 25 organizations around the world, mostly from Middle East, Africa, Latin America, and Asia. And there's one organization from Europe in the Netherlands. And we've been working together for more than 10 years. And it's a network that connects many art organizations that are very related with social change and social transformation. And what we've been doing together for many years are assemblies, like annual assemblies for a while until the pandemic came. Also residencies, collaboration between institutions, and many collaborative projects. And one of those collaborative projects that emerged from this network is the Power to the Commons, that was the inspiration to make this work now. This collaborative project started in 2019 with organizations from Senegal, also Colombia, and where else? I'm now a bit lost with the other countries. Which were the other countries? Help me.
Congo.
With Democratic Republic of Congo and South Africa, one organization. So we've been doing different initiatives together for some time. And after a while, we've learned a lot from each other, but also we reflected in the last years that there was a lot of knowledge that we've grown inside the network, but wasn't much shared outside. So we needed to be more, on one side, open to others, but in the other side, like more affirmative in the way we are more open. So we started creating different initiatives. This is the AC School initiative we're talking about now, that started last year mostly. with having different kind of teachings, other kind of collaborative experiments, and we came from there. So that's how this initiative came from. And from the Power to the Commons, we thought of doing these teachings called Power to the Commons, an opportunity to imagine another world, that have different topics on each of the sessions. And we are very glad to have you here today. And then after this session, we will have a last one that is connecting the ecosystem of the whole arts collaboratory with these initiatives from each session. So it's going to be open, and you are all invited to join also. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy and Penny.
Hola.
Hola, Dorian. Welcome. We start, but welcome, Dorian. So,
Gracias,
thank you,
gracias.
Penny and Luciana, for this introduction in this section. For me, I am very happy for this last section of the community, because we have three wonderful women that I admired so much, because the work is very amazing. So we try to share something that the Platoedro explored in the last year about the blockchain and cryptocurrency, but very connected with the commons. So for me, it's a very special moment, this section and the last section, because it's the opportunity to invite people that I know in this process. So I admire so much this work. And today we have Teresa, Les, and Dorian, a beautiful woman and very professional woman. And Teresa, I meet her in 2 years ago, maybe. She participated in section in Platoedro Cypher Plato section. Also, we have the opportunity to talk with her in Cypher Radio, this amazing episode. And Lex, I meet her in Mexico 2 years ago, in Dorian, also in this opportunity, and Ethereum 5 de Mayo. But Lex is a partner with me in Naos Amigos. It's an amazing project. For me, it's a very good, do you know about this project? And Dorian also participate in Cypher Radio with the amazing project, Urbanica, but less that everyone tell about the projects, about their lives. So I want to start with Teresa. Is a storyteller in the intersection in technology and socioeconomic impact. We are tech-saving mission and mastery degree in defense and development and diplomacy. Teresa's professional journey reflects a versatile skill set spanning content creation, strategic communication, WordPress expertise, SEO written, public relations, data analysis, product management, and business development, and rigorous resource. Funding Common is the project on the she work, but let's Teresa talk about her and the project. Teresa, welcome. You had 15 minutes to share about your amazing project about you. Welcome.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone, for having me. Super excited to be here and for the conversation. So, to share a little bit about me and maybe my journey into Web3 and all these amazing communities, is that my background is mostly in public relations. So I used to work in a public relations company, as focusing on like small tech clients, and that was like 2018, 2019, we started having more Web3 clients at the time. And it was really interesting because, especially at the time, a lot of those projects were mostly DeFi, very hypey, with like a little bit of strange reputation. And I remember getting media results for them was very difficult, right? Because how do you tell those stories that are so new and scary to many people? And, a lot of the projects just like started out of nowhere. So it was a very interesting thing. But I must admit that at first I didn't really want to get close to that space because I was also very skeptical. You know, like what you hear about is at the time was this like Bitcoin, and I just thought it was like a little rebellion of a few like crypto enthusiasts. You know, these like IT kind of guys, and I was like, that's not for me. So I was kind of resistant at first, and then one of my friends told me over coffee that there was a nonprofit organization in Medellin, Colombia, where I live, that was fundraising using NFTs. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that you could use it for something like that. And that's kind of how I started learning more about Web3, kind of from a different perspective than, you know, just like trading and tokens and all that. And kind of got like progressively into the space. I kind of did a lot of writing around Web3 for good specifically. And then I started working for a layer one blockchain at the time called Topple, which was specifically built around impact use cases. So the goal of that was mostly to kind of drive the blockchain transparency use case around supply chains. So at the time, I learned a lot about kind of the mainstream narrative of what makes blockchains useful. We had some really cool use cases around the tracing of jewelry. So, for example, where your diamonds are coming from, like how to make sure they're ethically sourced, but also things like coffee, which in Colombia is also like very relevant. Like maybe, you know, if you could go to a coffee shop one day and you could scan a QR code, you could kind of see the whole value chain of the coffee, where it was grown, who grew it, and maybe even send a direct tip to the farmer that was involved with that. So that was kind of like some of my early work in Web3, kind of documenting some of those use cases. At the time, I also co-founded a little community in Medellin called Refi Medellin with Juan Giraldo and others. So that's a community where we kind of focus on regeneration and the entire kind of refi meme, but I'm sure we can get into that later. And after Topple, like a lot of the early projects in crypto kind of went under. I ended up joining Funding the Commons, which is now over a year and a half ago. So that's been kind of my latest role in the space. I also contribute to a project called Crypto Altruists, which is a media platform specifically focused around blockchain for good. But coming to Funding the Commons, we are basically a platform that brings together different stakeholders, such as funders, researchers, and builders, to kind of advance the public goods funding space. We kind of believe that you know, things like open source software, research, content, but also environmental goods like clean air, clean water, is something that deserves more attention and funds. And I think that we can see that a lot of the innovation, whether that's in tech or society and culture, comes from open and open source movements specifically. So we're kind of big believers in that, and we're trying to catalyze the community around that. To do that, we are running different events. So mostly it's been conferences, residencies, and hackathons. But we also kind of involved in different experiments, more and more kind of getting into that, so that we are not just the ones that, you know, bring this energy, but also the ones that can also bring it to the real world and kind of collaborate with some of the key stakeholders. So we've worked with organizations like Gitcoin, Optimism, Drips, Hypercerts, and many others. We are actually spun out of the Protocol Labs ecosystem. So a lot of our collaborators are also in the Protocol Labs network. But yeah, some of those experiments that I mentioned are, you know, around different matching pools for quadratic funding rounds. We are actually like now in the process of planning one that's going to be super exciting, but I'm afraid I cannot tease much of it. But some things that we have done in the past also in regards to these like experiments are, for example, something called universal basic, no, it's the builder basic income. So that's kind of the twist of the universal basic income, which is a principle tested by a lot of the crypto projects that believes, you know, that anyone can be entitled to a basic income to live with. And this spin on it that we had is how to make this for builders so that they can, open source builders specifically, so that they can sustain themselves and kind of keep building the applications. Because the truth is that we've seen that, you know, you can bring an open source community together and they can have more success in a year compared to what a traditional company would have in a decade. So I think if we like collectively find ways to fuel funds into these communities, we can see like mass innovation that's scaling and benefiting everyone. So that's kind of our focus with that. When it comes to the specific event, we're kind of focusing also on, you know, like a builder funnel. So obviously conferences are something that everyone can participate in, but with the residencies and hackathon, there is like a specific strategy that we're thinking about, because we want to encourage people that are building these things, you know, whether that's specific funding goods, public good, funding public goods mechanism. So, you know, that's been things like, again, like hypercerts, like the tokenized impact or things like that. But also people that are looking into like more niche things, like, you know, the different elements of it, like decentralized identity, because we have seen things like that being extremely important for quadratic funding and retrospective funding and all that. So how do you verify that you are a specific individual? So we've also supported innovation in decentralized identity and privacy, in other things like that. So that's kind of that. So with the hackathon that we are planning right now, that's kind of the top of the funnel, where we are looking to explore some of these projects, you know, have people maybe like experiment fully, or look at some of the challenges with the funders that are willing to fund these things. That's kind of the top of the funnel. Then we are hosting the residencies. Our upcoming one is actually in October and November in Buenos Aires, where we are handpicking 25 builders to come and work on these ideas some more. So they're going to spend 3 weeks there so that they can explore it. This is our first residency. We had some really cool projects coming out of it in the past, you know, in relation to things like refugee identity or impact verification mechanisms, or even just like simplified interfaces for public goods funding and all that. So I'm really excited what's going to come out of it. And the next step of the funnel, kind of the final one, would be us choosing 2 or 3 projects that we are directly going to incubate, because we also believe that, you know, a lot of the public goods funding builders need kind of continuous support even after, you know, maybe a month at the residency, so they can keep building. And I think our biggest strength is the network that we have, because we've been around for a while. And our focus really is on the bridge of connecting different stakeholders. So hopefully, you know, matching these builders with funding in the future. Yeah, so that's a little bit of that. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place. Alex, how does this sound? Do you have any other questions for me?
Yeah, we can get more conversation left, but in this moment, thank you, Teresa, for sharing this amazing project and a beautiful work. Now we have Lex. Lex is an amazing project. Now it's DAO Amigos. In this moment is in transformation, because it's the more amazing, and this technology is the process is live. So now Amigos is a community of a brand, NFT, now Amigos is a sub-DAO of the Nows. That is a NFT project, positive impact. But let's talking about the project, about her. So Lex, welcome. Thank you for sharing about you and the project.
Hi, hello everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm going to share sorry, just a second. Oh no. I think it's going to I think I'll have to like get out and come back. Is it possible if Dorian can continue, or can you just wait for a second?
Okay. You have problem to share something?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, don't worry. So we can continue with Dorian while you solve this situation. Dorian is a person in Urbanica project. It's an amazing project. I am very happy that we can share about this project. Dorian, hola, hola. Who is talking?
Hola, it's me, sorry.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dorian, and I've been in Urbanica since last year. But part of my work is I've worked in many spaces in the blockchain space. I started out building my own projects that work under NFTs. So I wanted to make a solution for reforestation, and I was exploring the blockchain technology about traceability and different forms to get funds. No, so I built Seba 3, which was my first blockchain project. I won a hackathon with it, and I fell in love with blockchain technology. Then I was already a founder of Angulo, which was a company on environmental education. And starting into the blockchain space, I saw an opportunity for more educational initiatives involving technology and the impact it can have, no? So I started working with many institutions, collaborating in doing courses. Actually, Alex was in one of my hacker boot camps where we teach hackers in the blockchain space how to build things with impact. No, not only innovations for the technology, but ways to change the world in a positive way. So after some time, I was invited by the team of Urbanica to collaborate with them because of my specialty in sustainable technologies. So basically, right now we are collaborating side by side in the educational part with Angulo and the city regeneration part with Urbanica. So basically, what we're building or what we built already is a bus. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's the first mobile home worldwide that is 100% ecological. Um, it does use diesel. Many people ask me, but we have autonomy in terms of water, electricity, waste management, and part of our food production. No, actually, right now I'm at the bus. We live here. Humberto, the founder, and me live here, and we're at this moment at a high school. So basically, what we do is go to schools, to universities, to communities, anywhere where they invite us, and we talk about transforming the cities. There's a really scary statistic that says that 70% of the contamination, of the pollution, sorry, that was Spanglish, of the pollution worldwide, it comes from cities. That's why our main focus is transforming cities, no? So the bus is a living exposition of technologies that help us save resources. And not only save resources, but regenerate our systems. For example, we do not waste
Cronomedal
any
con
water.
tesón y carbón activado, además de filtros UV para que de verdad se purifique.
No gastamos agua, solamente.
Okay. Like Humberto was saying there, we do not waste water.
Sorry.
It's
I tried to share.
It's all right. We don't waste any water. So every drop we use, we clean it. So how it works is we have on the top of the bus some cleaning systems. So we put a special bacteria that eats the grease that's on water. Then it gets pumped to our biofilter. And in 48 hours, after going through some rocks, carbon, and the plants that they have, they eat the soap, no? So we can use it infinitely. We only lose 8% of our water volume per year, but it's compensated by rain. So at the end, we live 100% autonomously. And living with technology and that save resources, we have discovered that the food and the water crisis are fake. There's not a crisis really. The real crisis is not a resource crisis. It's an architectural crisis because we already have the technology to be self-sufficient and autonomous in water and to be self-sufficient and autonomous on our food production. But still, there's many communities who don't have access to water, many people around the world who are dying in hunger. Why is this? Because they're not using the technology, because there's people who take advantage of this. No, but it's really interesting to go to schools and teach them about this. No, like for example, why do we poop on water? Nobody asks themselves why we do it. We just do it because since we were little, we pooped on water. It doesn't make any sense because water is the vital liquid for all human beings and for all living things, really, no? But what we do as humans, we poop on it. While our poop has a lot of nutrients that the earth needs. So we keep the nutrients out of the earth and we pollute water. It doesn't make any sense, but we still do it, no? So with the bus, we're going to many places. We're working alongside governments to build a technological infrastructure and educational programs so everybody gets on board to transforming the cities into more ecological, more smart and participative. No, so that's the main goal of Urbanica that we are having right now. And alongside with Angulo, we are making many hacker houses that are, because our mission is to help builders build with impact, no? So right now we are hosting a lot of ideathons across Mexico. We're having one in Barcelona as well. So we right now, Scroll is a protocol that is our main sponsor. They're supporting us, and they even gave us the opportunity to start our own incubator and accelerator of businesses in the impact space using blockchain technology, specifically Scroll. No, so right now we have the tools to help founders all across Latin America, if to not only onboard them into what is blockchain and how that could be beneficial to them, but also we put them with different mentors on what they need in their business. If they need a design help, then we'll give them design. If they need marketing, then we'll give them an expert on that. Product market fit. So it's very personalized attention because at the end of the day, we know that enterprise is the way to change the world. And if you can earn money while you have impact, then it's perfect. No, so our main focus right now is both education and supporting founders with anything they need. So we all have access to the knowledge of this technology. No, I think education should be a public good. That's why we build the bus. That's why it's free. All the tours that we give, etc. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorian. It's an amazing project, Urbanica and Angulo. Yeah, I can live in the hacker house in the last version of the 35 de Mayo. So it's amazing the opportunity to share with other people, other builders. So yeah, it's an amazing experience. So now we have the opportunity to continue with Lex. You are ready? The problem is solved? I hope so. Yeah. Now, amigos is here. Lex, share, please. Maybe.
Hi, can you see my screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so I'm Lex. I'm a designer, an artist based in Mexico City. I was on creative space doing editorial design for different institutions here in Mexico. And it was in 2017 that I did a master's in business and technology. And that's the first time that I got to learn about Web3, but it was mainly from like an educational point of view. I was learning about blockchain, about trying to understand what was going to happen and how these technologies would help us in the future. But it was more as an observer. And it was until 2022 that I really started to get engaged. I think mostly because of NFTs and how that intersection between art and design that I already liked could merge with economics and with communities. So I started to get involved with like different communities that were NFT based and trying to create projects. And also with communities of women trying to learn more about Web3 and how they could get involved and create projects. So my first, I think what I first did was starting to go to hackathons. And going to hackathons for me was the way to really understand what kind of projects could be built in using Web3 technologies and to see like all the potential and everything that everyone was doing. And so it was also in 2022 that I co-founded Nouns Amigos along with Mono. This began like kind of as Alex mentioned, like a sub-DAO from Nouns, which is a project that is trying to fund builders around the world to create projects around Web3 and trying to be like this community brand that can be creating all kinds of projects around any kind of disciplines. And we were like just so excited about the opportunities to build that we said we have to do this for Latin America. We have to bring these opportunities because we want to build, we want to create, and there's this happening worldwide. So let's bring it to Latin America. And we're very proud because we decided not only to bring like the technology just as it was, but trying to do it like our way. So we changed a lot of things, starting from the image. Like you can see here, there's like these little characters wearing glasses. We decided to create these images that were about things we are interested, like animals, food, like anything that was related for us in Latin America and that we could start relating to as a community. So what is Nouns Amigos? It's a community of Latin American creatives. We are decentralized and self-managed, working together to bring projects to life and pursue common goals. So this has been a journey. As I said, we started like trying to emulate what Nouns was doing. But I think along the way, we've been 3 years now working as a community. And I think we've now, especially this year, we're trying to find our own goals, our own path as a community, and as a group of organized people that met on the internet and now are trying to create together. So here again, these little characters, each one of these is a token. We changed the model from the main DAO, from Nouns. With Nouns, you buy 1 token and that gives you voting power to decide how the treasury is spent and which projects you're going to fund. So with Nouns Amigos, we decided that is not our context in Latin America. We're not trying to sell these NFTs. So instead of selling them, we gave them to the people who won a project and executed it. So instead of proving you have like the money to buy the NFT, you were earning it through proof of work. So that made the community more resilient and more engaged with each other, because we were like giving this token that was voting power for someone that had already worked for the DAO. So we value the work, we value what they created, and we think that that experience will give them the knowledge to vote for the next projects that are going to be funded. So we started to meet each other in Discord meetings. We've been doing that for 2 years. Every Tuesday, we're there talking about projects, talking about what everyone is building, helping each other with anything. Any other member of the DAO has that knowledge or information, and it's been very fun to be like these fun pixelated characters, but also meeting each other in real life. We've had the opportunity to create educational meetups, also celebration meetups for each year of the DAO. This one is from Mexico City, where I'm based, but we've had different communities meeting locally. And that's been awesome, like having this opportunity to create a community that is in the whole region in Latin America, and then being able to start meeting in real life. So we have funding projects in Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Colombia, España, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Peru, República Dominicana, Estados Unidos, y Venezuela. We're very proud to have been able to reach out so many places that we would have never imagined doing it without these technologies and without everything we're using, from literally internet to blockchain and Web3 tools. So I want to talk like what exactly are we doing? What does it mean to be creatives from all these countries working to achieve projects and common goals? So just to give a couple of examples, this is a graphic fair made by Nadie in Colombia. He gathered with a bunch of creatives, illustrators, artists that in a fair to try to sell their art, to try to talk about new payments and new ways for them to get funds, but also to get collectors and put out their work. So this is in Colombia. This is an art school in Peru. It was a project by Ivana. They were giving free creative classes, from painting to watercolors to collage and different techniques. This is an animation jam by Pau in Argentina. So again, a bunch of animators got together to create amazing pieces that they would eventually mint and share online with the community. And this is bringing opportunities, because as creatives, we've all shared how difficult it is to get funding for what you want to do. So for them to get funding to create a short film, a short animation, or to give workshops in different areas of Argentina is very difficult. So giving them like expanding the options from not being just institutional, but also having these opportunities in Web3 to get funding and to create with people, not only locally, but globally, I think has been like very, very interesting for all these creatives that have been joining. Also, I think it's very important for us that we have not, we've tried to not have like an onboarding approach where it's like, hi, I'm going to talk about Web3, this is blockchain, this is what you can do, and try to be like very from theory and with a very like traditional education, but it's more like a show, don't tell, no? So we're like, if you want to onboard dancers, you have to create this amazing event where they're going to battle each other and they are going to win a prize, and that prize is going to be in crypto, and they'll have to learn how to get their wallet and how to move that money. So, and also they're going to learn how that event was funded. So we think like doing things that really impact lives of creatives are the way that these creatives are going to be interested in these new technologies. So this is also announced to the rescue in Guatemala. So in DAOs got together the whole community, like the neighbors, to work for and restore a park that had been abandoned for years and where nobody could even enter because it was so, nobody was taking that space. So he worked with the neighbors to paint it, to clean it, and then he worked with artists to create these fun designs that the community would like. Do they come from? And that's how they start learning about Web3. So just to make a quick roundup, we were like very fortunate enough to have funding from Nouns to create all these projects. So as Nouns Amigos, we ran 53 funding rounds where we funded 125 proposals. All of these proposals were voted by the community, by those tokens I talked about. Every proposal was voted and decided by the community because they wanted to see these projects to come alive. And we deployed 100 ETH, all this ETH going entirely for the proposals. So it's been 3 years with a lot of projects, a lot of people, and now we're trying to move forward. We're working. It's not just like people that want to get funding for themselves. We're trying to really get organized. We've learned a lot. We now want to create a real community, a real DAO that it's going to work for these shared goals. So we're in this process, and it's been really, really amazing for everyone. I think a lot of us have really grown in, especially in socially, in how you can get organized. Like all these Web3 tools are that tools, but still we have to be humans getting organized and getting reaching common goals.
Amazing, it's amazing. I love it. I love it. I am part of a proposal of Plato Edro. We have the amazing wording. The Faro is other place that we have process. And now thanks now Amigos support, the Faro have internet, and it's amazing. We can participate in the in the transforming this space, because when we start in this space, the floor is in very grateful for Naos Amigos. Proposal in Naos Amigos. Now we have the token. We can participate in the making decision in Naos Amigos. So it's amazing. And now the let's talk about is and transformation is because it's not only they connected with the Naos. We want to connect it with so many different protocols and communities. So it's amazing the Latin America connecting with different projects. So you can see we have commons about the Naos, about the region and finance. So it's amazing section. For now, I want to continue the conversation together. I want to that you share what you think about the resource distribution, because Urbanica had the opportunity to get people donate in platforms like Giveth, for example. Now Amigos support many projects in Latin America. So it's amazing. Founding on the Commons is very connected with this initiative. How do you see this distribution, the resource in decentralizing environment? What do you think about this concerning your experience? We want to start. Teresa?
Sure. Yeah. So I think that obviously, like, public goods have been funded in traditional spaces through governments, nonprofits, volunteers. But I think Web3 unlocks like a whole different way to approach this with, many different mechanisms, but also just like the sheer access that we have now to communities around the world, and how you can maybe share the word about your cause with anyone globally. So it's been really great to see kind of the coordination around that. I think like Lex's example is amazing of, how like different communities can connect and how we can shift incentives and empower creators. And I really love to see that. There's been, so many different experiments. I love always seeing the quadratic funding rounds. There's an upcoming one coming up on Giveth. Always participating in the one on Gitcoin. It's interesting to see how different ecosystems are even approaching it, like to fund their own public goods. I mean, public goods, more like club goods in that context for like retrospective funding. We've been experimenting with hypercerts as well, which I'm really excited about. One that I mentioned is drips, which function in a way where you can kind of display your open source dependencies and kind of decide how you want to allocate it to different point of your work. So, for example, if you are leveraging, specific open source software repositories, you can kind of direct, for example, streams from your direct like revenue. So I think that's really cool. I wish everyone did that, like how we're kind of giving back to the ecosystem and driving another wave of innovation, because there's like a lot of jokes around how, I don't know, half of internet is powered by some dude in, I don't know, Oklahoma and his like garage setup. So like really, really excited about like empowering different people, different communities. We've had a lot of obviously benefits from that, as well as Refamidine specifically. So, being like a little community, our team is like 5 people. We've been able to sustain ourselves through public goods funding. So whether that's the Optimism retroactive public goods funding round that gave us a huge injection of capital and has been able to sustain us to the smaller rounds, whether it's on Gitcoin or Cello, have been really great. But yeah, maybe to wrap it up, I just really love the access and the tools we have now to coordinate around capital and how we can coordinate to collectively sustain public goods without having to rely on the traditional funders has been something that I find really inspiring, and there's a lot we can play with here.
Thank you so much, Teresa. Lex, what do you think about this distribution resource concerning your experience?
I think it's very interesting that we've been trying to do things as a community from scratch. So we've had to decide our own ways, for example, to allocate funds, and to have the how we want to spend them, what matters to us, what we want to fund, and how are we going to decide collectively how to use them. But then the main goal right now, I think, for us is how to be sustainable. What happens, we need to find ways to not always rely on getting grants and getting funds. So it's a challenge for a lot of projects and communities, I think, to find mechanisms for sustainability, to find mechanisms to keep going, and being aligned, as Teresa said, in aligning incentives and trying to find ways on how you can keep going and how you can funding also yourself. So it's two huge challenges. First to get the funding, then how to make it sustainable. So I think we're still trying to figure it out. We'll see what happens, but the main thing is trying to decide it collectively. So I think since we started with nouns, we always thought this is an experiment. The experiment has lasted for 3 years, but we are aware that we can choose paths that are not going to work, and we have to pivot and do something new. So I think this, not only from the technology standpoint, but also as a social experiment, it's amazing, and we'll keep it going.
Yeah, we have to keep it going. So yeah, it's amazing that Teresa told about this. And Lex, is this technology, the possibility, coordination between human is the more important. Yeah, but we have the same problems of the real life. It's a tragedy of the common, no? So we have to work very hard to sustain the project. So Dorian, what do you think about this topic? Distribution resource.
Hi, everybody. Pueden seguir.
Okay.
I think that what Lex said is very important. I mean, funding in community is the first step, but definitely to make the project survive in the long run, they have to think about a business model. Nothing sustains itself by itself, and we cannot depend on just funding and asking for grants. Sometimes it's more work when people just go from round to round to round asking people to donate. Many of your supporters donate to you once and then they don't want to do it again. So I think making as a business model to continue the project is very, very important. In terms of Urbanica, people from all the world supported the project. It's been 3 years of building the bus, so it's a lot of work. But right now we need to change the model. No, we can't rely on just donations. I mean, they were great because they helped us build this, but right now the focus changed. We're not just building, we are concentrating in the educational part of the project. Then we know that they are supporting this type of initiatives that are really supporting the regenerative mindset. No, but at the end, if we do not sell houses, we cannot sustain the project. No. So yeah, I think funding is a great start for any project, but it does need to develop a business to serve. We're moving on to supporting entrepreneurs with our incubation and accelerator. So as the project evolves, the funding needs to evolve as well to grow besides the project.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's true. It's we can start with the funding, but the more difficult. So now I want to the keeping the conversation about a few reflection about the governance, because this technology we had the opportunity to take decision together. But how is your experience about this governance? Because sometimes and now, for example, the people have the tokens but don't participate in the voting, the decision, because it's a hard work, because you have to read the proposal. It's a money proposal. Another experience like Ethereum Colombia, we designed very complex mechanisms to vote. What do you can share about governance and blockchain?
Really tough. I've been part of like a few, very little though, because whenever I hear like, hey, governance, I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that, you know? So I've been part of a few only. We recently started the DAOification process in RefiDAO as well. So now we have, our structure in like chambers, heads protocol, and we've been doing some initial voting around capital allocation on gardens protocol, which has been pretty cool. Yeah, I think that one has been like very clear, but I think there's a lot of education that needs to go into that, because I see always people chasing, as you said, Alex, like chasing others in the Telegram groups, like, hey, new proposal is up, make sure to vote, make sure to participate. So I think that the incentives haven't been figured out, whether it's incentive or like direct like UX issues haven't been like fully figured out. And I'm really curious if, any communities have that. But in my experience, it's been like very painful for people to stay involved. A lot of these communities, and I'm sure that Darian and Lex know about this, is that, like contribution is a lot of time voluntarily. So it's not like you get rewarded for being involved in these communities. You're doing it on your own time. And when there is someone, saying, hey, I have so many like new proposals that you have to read it, it's like very human to sometimes be just like very burnt out of that. So it's been tricky. I think that if you can make that process easy, simple, regular, and as streamlined as possible, the better. That's why I like, Darian mentioned it, like with the donations, it's hard to like always be on top of it, but I know that different projects are trying to find ways to work around it. Just like Give It Now is launching the causes initiative where you can kind of just donate to a cause with a click. So, there's people that aggregate different projects into one umbrella. It can be, I don't know, that particular cause without having to put everyone in your basket and do it one by one, which is sometimes like very, very tiring. So there is improvements in that. I think a community that has been doing really well when it comes to that, assuming that governance is also governance around capital allocation, is Octant. I know that they have been like really improving on that, really trying to find ways to make it engaging, simple. And it's a community that I have been part of for a while now, on and off as well, just like anyone when it comes to communities. But whenever there is an epoch, they have a really good way, which is like the allocation period, which is like 2 weeks. They have a really good way to mobilize the community, and the allocation of the funds or votes technically has been like super simple. So it's like a very light touch model. I acknowledge that there's not that much to decide upon other than the actual capital allocation. So that has been working, but I think for more complex projects, it's definitely tricky.
Yeah, it's true. It's amazing. All the time we have to improve this process and try to educate the people all the time. So, Dorian, what do you want to share about this, your experience in governance?
Okay, well, it's a really complicated subject, but I think different DAOs work differently. No, they have their own mechanisms, and you just have to find where you fit in. No, what works for you as an individual, and what goes with your values as well. No, so right now, I participated in many DAOs, but at the end, when we vote for a proposal, for example, it's just pleasing the majority. No, so I do not believe in that's like the flaw in democracy, I think, general. And it's because what about minorities? No, if you're minority, does that mean that your requests are not valuable? And I think that's the biggest challenge with governance in Web3 right now. So, for example, right now in our educational part in Angulo and Urbanica, we are teaching about consent. And consent is like a governance mechanism where everything should go through unless you have a strong if you refuse it strongly. No, if it affects you strongly, then you have to argument for it not to go through. So it's a different perspective. It's not just let's vote and see who likes this proposal or no. It's a concept where everything goes through unless it affects somebody, and you have to talk about why it affects you. And it's not about blocking proposals from happening, but proposing. So how do we make this proposal go through? No, how do we modify it and change it so it beneficiates all the community, not the persons, not just the people who are putting it there? No, so it's really interesting to see how different DAOs work around that. And I think it's a new concept. No, like I was talking to kids yesterday that uh, for example, companies were all hierarchy. So the governance is based on um, reputation or your role on the company. But in DAOs, it's more complex because it doesn't depend just on few people. You have to take into consideration the opinions of many, and it's like very hard to get to the same page. But I think with these mechanisms, we can get closer to making decisions that contribute to all of the community and not just the majority. So I think it's something that we should work and think about in this space.
Thank you so much, Dorian. Yeah, it's amazing that we have to combine different strategies to try to uh, involve different opinion. Or yeah, this is very important to that you say about the minorities. It's very important. This is the trump of the democracy. Yeah, so it's amazing. Unless what you talking about the governance of, concerning your experience.
Yeah, I think um, tricky as, as that is as it. But I think going back to this to being social and trying to get to reach common agreements. I think it's really important to have open spaces to talk, to have conversations around whatever is being decided and any proposals. So, because if there's no open spaces and people can't discuss, it's really difficult. You, as they said, you have to give your time, you have to give your energy to vote, and you have to be informed. So it's like extra work, and I think these public spaces really have to give the space for everyone to speak out, to share, to discuss, to be able to say no because this, but there have to be these spaces, otherwise it gets it's not like a real debate. So one thing I think is this, like having these open spaces to discuss proposals. Also, I think design, like everything has to be the design process. Okay, so again, the way you vote has to be the community has to decide how they want the process of voting, and that has to be designed technology wise. Otherwise, people find ways like to manage to look for turnarounds. If anything is possible, people will do it. So everything has to be by design. That's why we have like all these mechanisms. So I think voting mechanisms like in the as a design is very important, and it has to fit the community. It has to fit what the community believes in the way they organize. And also, I think these open spaces to discuss, in the North Star of the community has to be discussed all the time. Otherwise, you get lost on the proposals. So I think like always having like a clear North Star for the DAO, having open spaces to discuss proposals where everyone can their voice can be heard, and having a strong mechanism that by design is going to be that has credibility by all the community through the decision process. All these things are really important, and still we're going to find decision fatigue, voting fatigue. So we still have to, I think, while the North Star is clear, people will have enthusiasm to keep participating. Because if they start saying like, the community is going to different paths that maybe it was not what they were aligned first, you will lose voters, you will lose participation, you will lose enthusiasm in working together as a community. So a lot of challenges for governance.
Yeah, it's true. It's a very challenge, but yeah, it's a work that we have to do. But in the end of the day, the problem is not the technology. The problem is between the board and the share. Is the layer 8, the user, because the human we have to transform and change the mentality. But yeah, is that we have the technology like mechanisms, but we have to transform the many ways. So the last question that we have is very short as well. I saw is what do you think about the maybe to build or to get or imagine other possible world through this technology? what you think about this? This technology is the possibility to build the utopia, imagine other world different that we live in the present. Or what do you think about these sentences? Dorian.
Thank you. I think we are far away from there, but because the community isn't exclusive enough. Like, honestly, and this is something that we have to work in the space, is new people come here and they feel they're talking to aliens because we speak a complete other language. So if we imagine utopias where everybody lives this in a decentralized space, we have to pull down the language and be more inclusive to newcomers. If not, it'll be just another elitistic way to governance to govern ourselves. But I think we have to work on that a lot. No, not only doing educational programs for people in our education level, to say it like that, but we have to pull concepts into another way to make onboarding more massive, no, to make this utopia. That's my view on it. But it is a start, no? At the end, we are a community that is relatively new and it's evolving and expanding slowly but surely. So there's a lot of work to do, but I think building with that inclusiveness is a must to achieve the utopia that we all talk about in the space.
Thank you. Yeah. Lex, you want to say something about this utopic, imagine other possible worlds with this technology?
I think maybe to be a little bit optimistic, for me has been an amazing experience to, as I said before, to be able to work with people from so many countries, to share our reality as people who live in Latin America that share struggles and that want to work to solve them or to try to make better spaces for them to live. So I think this wouldn't have been possible. I wouldn't have even imagined the option of having like this community in the whole Latin America, and also working together with having a treasury and deciding together how to use it. For me, that's kind of a baby step towards that utopia, because before Web3 and these technologies, I didn't even know we could do it. So I think it's amazing. It's amazing. And also I think after going like this globally or as a region and trying to, or getting organized together and trying to manage funds and trying to help each other to create projects, it also makes everyone being more committed locally, because everyone is doing something in the place where they live, in their city, in their country. Everyone is trying to create things, but then we share them together and we create together as a region. So I think maybe it's like a really small step, but we're doing it and we're trying. I think as long as we keep doing this, that you are doing, like sharing these stories to new people, I think we like start like yeah, we start giving, like planting this idea in other people that maybe other ways are possible. And also people that have been like part of communities for a like long time, like you, Alex, like doing like this social work for such a long time, but now it gives you new tools So I think we can all be like learning all the time and trying to integrate in how to live better and how to find new ways of getting organized as individuals and as a collective. So I think we're trying to go through that way.
Yeah, we have tried. And Teresa, what do you say about this
Um,
utopia?
I think that I really love Lex's point about, like suddenly seeing that things that we didn't even imagine are now like possible. And I think that's why, like, it's safe to say that we're still early. Like, if you were to judge, I don't know, the internet on what it was like in the first 10 years, I think it would be very different to what it is now. So I think we need to be also patient with like how we're progressing, how the different experiments are going, how we're kind of improving all of these processes, like governance and many other things. But yeah, I think also to what Dorian was saying is that we're getting more and more closer to access, which is like again like one of my favorite keywords, because I think that's or maybe my favorite thing about Web3 like overall is just that you can do so many different things, and people all around the world can get involved, and it doesn't matter what your background is or where you're from or what your education is, but you can kind of participate in this global economy that's open and free. So I'm a very big geek about things like collaborative finance, and collaborative finance is nothing new. It's just like how we can better share financial flows in communities and support each other. I know there's this like really cool model from I think it's Eastern Africa, where like in the 16th century already people were kind of practicing things like community loans, right? Or that like I don't know, every month people from the community pool money together, and the person that needs it the most is the one that takes the loan that month. And I think like practicing that, for example, in like whether it's even community like local community setting or digital settings, sometimes has the challenge of trust. Like, how do you make sure that people can participate, that, I don't know, they don't run away with the money, that they really contribute the amount that they promise. There is no like shady play being done. I think all this can be solved with blockchain. So I am really here for these use cases, and I hope we're going to see more of that.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I am very, I don't know. For me, we are living the utopia in this moment because like JJ Campuzano say, we are living the digital renacimiento. So it's amazing. But yeah, we have too much work to do. So it's not perfect, but yeah, we had many people, beautiful people working in this process, and we have the tools. It's only that we can continue the work. For Plato Air is amazing with this technology, the opportunity to coordinate with the people and everywhere is amazing. The possibility to share this knowledge is amazing. But for me, that is a utopia beginning. So it's all. I don't know. Some people have questions. Penny, Lucy, how do you think? I am very happy with this section. The people, thank you for coming. Someone want to say something?
Yeah, if there is any question for the participants, those that they came to listen to our three storytellers, I mean, there is time for that. Either you write your question or you just jumping in the conversation. Feel free to ask Teresa, Alex, and Dorian, and ourselves also of anything related to what we've heard, but also who we are, or you want more information of what Power to the Commons is and our own approach of doing. So I can see all the people who are related to to Power to the Commons, like Tarin. Hello, Tarin. So anyway, so yes.
Thank you, Penny. Yeah, so I don't know. This is a beginning of the many conversations that we have to share. And You are welcome in Platoedro all the time. This is the place, the safe place to build utopias. So thank you so much. Yeah, Luciana, do you want to share about the plenary section in October?
Thank you. Yes. So after this pre-last session, we will have the final one that was supposed to happen in September, but we couldn't make it in September. So we're going to do it at the end of October. It's going to be kind of a recap of what we've done in the previous ones and some of the learnings. And it will be great also to hear from your side some feedback about it. Some people have joined like 2 or 3 sessions, other only one, but it would be great to have you all and also to have a panorama of who are we with other organizations that are part of the network. Also, since there will be other initiatives like this that will be in the plenary, you will also be able to like exchange with other people from around the world. It's going to be an experiment, and we are kind of very happy to have it. It will be in a different time at 8 a.m. Colombia time. I don't know what other time we can mention in other time zones, but we will share it so that you can find your time to connect in case you want. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Teresa, Lex, thank you so much for coming. I send you a text because I had to share all the last thing, but it's a private. So thank you so much. Everyone coming, thank you so much. This conversation is in YouTube. It's recorded. So if you want to share, is the possibility in the Platoedro channel. Yeah, no more. Bye bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.